Hello, everyone. This is Brother Benson, and I'm joined with Migoda and Barak. How are you doing, gentlemen?
I'm doing well, Brother Ben, and I hope
Mhm.
you're also fine wherever you are.
Yeah.
And Miguda.
Yes, Migoda, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm all good, I can say. How about you?
Mm. Mimi niko vyema. Uh, leo unajua leo nimeona jambo, and let me take this opportunity also to say hi to Gypsy Corner on the comment section and Judith. Asante sana for joining us. Uh, Barack, today I saw nominated senator that was who was replaced recently, Senator Orioba. She was trying to access the parliament or the Senate, but she was blocked by security officers. And his photos are now going rounds on social media. What does it one tell you about power?
uh, Power is transient. Power is not permanent, and
Mm,
uh, especially it speaks to the line,
mm,
a very solid line, or you can call it a thin line between being nominated and being elected.
yeah.
And I think this should send a clear message to nominated members of parliament
Mm,
that you are there at the mercies of your party.
mm,
And when you start serving other interests, then you can be stripped off. Because I think Robert took these things so lightly at the beginning,
yeah.
but now I think reality is dawning on her. I remember when she was saying that she can do without that salary,
Yeah.
but right now she's fighting so hard to get back into that house. But
Mhm.
unfortunately, it is not possible because Parliament, once you are kicked out,
Yes.
getting back there is not easy, especially if you are a nominated member. But elected members of parliament, even when they are on suspension,
Mhm.
normally the orders are normally very strict that they should not access. So just a lesson that when you are in power, know that you are not there permanently.
Yeah, you end up there, but also in terms of those who are nominated, as you said earlier, that this nomination, know that you are serving at the mercies of the owners of the political party. Anytime you decide to show any kind of disrespect to them, or you tend to support a candidate that they do not support, then that is what you are getting. Mr. Miguda, what can you say about that?
I can just say that once you are nominated in a political party,
Yeah.
once a political party has sponsored you to parliament or the county assembly, your duty is simple. Just be loyal
Yeah.
because the party has sponsored you. So you don't need to defy with the party which has sponsored you. And I remember when he was having the podcast, she was very confident that like she doesn't care. Little did I know that she wanted to go back to the Senate. Now I was more confused, and now it has hit him. The reality has now hit her.
Hmm.
Sorry, the reality has now hit her, and she's now coming back to her sense that really the power is gone.
Yeah. And also something that also we have to learn. Remember, during the formation of UDA, she was especially that person who was in charge of the social media, actually from her confession. And also something that if you listen to some of her podcasts on how parliament is operating, especially when you want to go to these trips, especially there's a way in which sometimes in which you have to talk good. There's a language that they speak as if, especially if you're a woman, for you to attend all this. So there's a language that you have to speak. So that one also speak about, especially our political parties, our parliament, and especially the role of nominated members of parliament. What is their role really? What do they do? That is something that also we is something that we need to investigate. And some of this I think Barak need to be need to be corrected, especially as today people are celebrating the 16 days of Katiba Day today. That is what they say. There's some roles that we should look into, because they don't play a special role. What role do the nominated members of parliament play? Yeah, because you find that those who are being nominated, even you don't see them on the campaign trail, but you find that these slots are being used to reward, especially those who assisted you in the campaigns, and they have to serve at your mercies. They don't serve at the mercies of the Kenyan people. Barack, what do you think about that? Is it that time that we should also review the role of nomination, especially the members of nominated?
Thank you, Badamek, for highlighting that. First of all, let me say hi to Gypsy Kona, Laban Misiani, and Judith from the comment section. And thank you so much for joining, and welcome to the session.
Yeah.
Nominated slot
Yeah.
was meant to, if you look at the spirit of the constitution, it was meant to help to bridge the gap between the marginalized groups,
Yeah.
and enable them to access this representation. And remember, it was meant to bring on board people with the disability, and the marginalized. Then before these women repositions, women were among them,
Yeah.
and the youth. But with the increasing number of elected women, I think women are no longer classified as marginalized in terms of because they have 47 slots purely reserved for them, and now they also a good number of them are also elected.
Mm-hmm.
And now the only people who are still very few are the people living with disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
And you remember Isaac Mwaura has been a beneficiary of this nomination,
Yeah.
courtesy of his condition.
Yeah.
And now, if you look at that's the spirit, it meant well for people who are marginalized. And remember, we also have people like the Ogiek, these small indigenous groups.
Yeah.
That the spirit of the constitution wanted to ensure that they are also brought on board, so that the people that where they come from, they also feel represented. But now, if you look at the abuse of our political parties, how they've abused this provision
Yeah.
by nominating either their side chicks of the owner of the political parties, or their relatives, or their campaign financiers, or people who played one role or another during the campaigns.
Yeah.
And that's how you see us ending up with people like Gloria in parliament. And remember, she vied from where she comes from, and she was defeated by another woman. So it means that I don't know, she vied for Senate. So we have a woman representing from Kisii and also from Nyamira. So we cannot say that she was coming there to represent women, because we already have a woman representative. So it is, and she does not have she does not live with disability. So it means she was nominated courtesy of her party, maybe for a role that she played. Maybe she was good in propaganda, in terms of spreading propaganda in social media to the UDA party during the campaign, or she offered other services that we are not sure of.
Yeah.
And you've seen even people questioning the nomination of Karen Nyamu, the Senate, and her role. What role does she? What value does she add? Because even nomination can also be that you are adding value that is lacking within the legislation arm of government. But if you look at how parties have been nominating people, you remember when ODM nominated Wilson Sosion.
Yes.
And people were asking, this guy is a Secretary General of NAT. She's earning a lot of money. How comes you are giving another nomination slot in Parliament? And you remember when Oburu Odinga was also nominated in Parliament by ODM. And so you find that these nomination slots, they have not been serving the intended purpose. But if you look at the spirit of the Constitution, but they've been serving the interest of the owners of the political party. So I think it's a good timing for this country to relook at this nomination slot. You remember Millicent Omanga and how when she was joining UDA, and she was still serving as a nominated senator of Jubilee, and they were being called at Pangani Jubilee House to be questioned. And they are so adamant because when you are nominated, you owe allegiance to the political party that nominated you, and you have to serve the interest of, if it's a special group, that maybe people living with disability, or women, or even that marginalized indigenous group. You have to add value to them because you are there courtesy of them and courtesy of your political party. So if you want to go against your political party and you are a nominated member of parliament, I think it's also lack of wisdom in terms of understanding how structures works. And sometimes it is good that they pay the price for it, because sometimes ignorance can make you pay the price. So I think it is at the right time for us as a country to relook at this nomination rule, so that we get the right people who are going to add value to the people that they are representing in these legislation houses.
Okay, thank you so much. And you brought about the issue of Sossion back then, where he used to be in the NAT, and he was very vocal and fighting for the teachers. So sometimes some of these nominations, or some of these nominations that they give, their main intention is is not to serve the purpose that is intended. Yeah, but on the physical eye of the people, it is true that you are doing what the law requires you, but behind the scene there's a purpose that is serving. Because remember, uh Sosen was coming from the backdrop of somebody who has been advocating for teachers. So they knew very well that, okay, if we put one of or if we nominate one of the people who understands structures to do with teaching and the challenges that the teachers are going through, he will be the best person even to bring those laws. But what happens immediately? You have to go to parliament. You find yourself like not doing that. Talking about especially nominating even like people who are very close to you. We've seen incidences where somebody is not in the political limelight. You will not see me in the campaigns, or you not see her in the campaign. But during the nomination, that is when you will see somebody that you have never imagined that was the member of this party and has been nominated, based on what you are, maybe family, or what you contributed towards the nomination of the party. So I think for the constitution itself, or for the nomination to realize its main purpose, it also should be scrutinized, because you cannot just nominate and then you unaamka leo tena unamtoa. Miguda, what is your take on that?
Okay, if I also want to join people to pass my greetings to Gypsy Corner, Judith Karita, and Lavan Misiani. I've seen Lavan Misiani the typing follow. So actually, he knows what follow is. Something like follow. I don't know where he learned that follow language. There's a certain county assembly where I happen to be sometimes, and it is ODM dominant assembly. I find out that the ODM people at that particular assembly, when they were issuing nomination, they focus on women. They have done it from 2013, 17, and 2022. They have been nominating women in that county assembly. They have been reserving that seat for the women.
Yeah.
And they have been focusing on the widows, actually. Not only women, but widows. Most of them are widows. And they focus on the widows who are languishing in abject poverty. So I want to appreciate that one, that sometimes they look at it into that perspective, and since that time, those people's their lives have changed. Actually, there are people who are living terrible lives by that time. I know.
Miguda.
There's a point I wanted to bring.
Yeah.
Not that I'll say that they should give it to the people who have the poverty or women. I was just saying, to certain extent, these nomination positions reserved to the political parties, they can decide to reward loyalism to their party. They can decide to reward those people who can actually advocate for the rights of a particular group of people, like women in that case, in the county assemblies.
Yeah.
because maybe they have decided that okay, we have like all members of condos are men. Let us
Mhm.
bring women because there are no
Mhm.
women there to so a group of people for representation.
Mhm.
Having said that, I just wanted to also maybe ride on the issue of Sosion Wilson.
Mhm.
You find out that in terms of education, generally, we have the CS for education,
Yeah.
we have Teacher Service Commission, we
Mhm.
have the union like the NAT and the COPET, and I
Mhm.
think also we have the Committee for Education. So
Mhm.
all these avenues, you want to
Mhm.
bring someone, maybe like Sosion, as a nominated, but remember, even that assembly, there are MPs who are former teachers. They're just who have just retired from becoming teachers. Now they have joined politics. The
Mhm.
same way opposition could bring those issues in parliament, the same way those teachers in parliament, like we have the MP for Kibra, Molly
Yeah.
Morero.
Mhm.
Molly Morero have the same similar views that teachers could have had, like Sosion. So me, to my view, sometimes I don't see whereby you might single someone out that because he's the, for instance, like Faith Odhiambo. Now because
Mhm.
Faith Odhiambo, she's the president of the LSK. Now
Yeah.
let us nominate her to go and represent lawyers. No, we have lawyers who are MPs. They know what is required in the LSK. They know what is required in the advocate. So
Mhm.
I believe sometimes these nominations, I think there are some people also who are buying their way to the parliament. They can use money to buy those positions because I believe that in case there are some people who can buy also, they can liaise with the director of elections
Yeah.
and the party, but during the nomination, they are being nominated to those positions. That one also can play.
Mm. And and that's why, like, if just to bring you back, because what you say, especially like, if that's the example that you're giving somebody, because like you find that somebody is nominated because of the life circumstances, but now the service that is going, or she or he is going to deliver in the parliament is not there, because the majority of times, or time without numbers, we've always seen that those who are nominated, even if they go to various places, they say that okay, to interact with the people, because like they said that I was not given a mandate by the you people. Even the special interest that they are serving, they don't even fight for them. Look at, even talk about, Barack mentioned about Mwaura. Mwaura has been nominated. Actually, his nomination came from ODM. He was first of all nominated by Mwaura. But even those who have been nominated, the people with disability, look at how, when you look at most of our building accessibility, do we have accessibility to the disability, especially to access the buildings using the ramps? Are there laws that are being put in place, and these are being enforceable? And you are representing these people. So you find, even them, if they go to parliament, they do not advocate, especially for what they were nominated for. you know they are there. They're just earning money. Some of them do not advocate. For instance, let's just be real. What was the reason for Karen Nyamu to be nominated, and Rioba? What was the reason for their nomination? Because like there must be an interest, but how are they using the slot that they were nominated for to influence the public, or to make sure that the changes are experienced or witnessed amongst the group that they are representing or they were nominated for? I don't know whether that would be true. And remember, just remember some of the, even like, some of the pronouncements that Caroline Nyamu has always made. Remember during the Gen Z protest, the pronouncement that she made, Barack. And you're somebody who kind of like, representing this particular group, and some of the words that you say, or some of the acts that you are acting, does not even reflect the people you are representing. So
Yeah, and it's a shame even to the party that nominated Karen Nyamu, and because she has not added any value even in her role as a legislature. And remember, there was a common there was a joke that let me explain to you like I'm explaining to Karen Nyamu, because it was it was understood that her level of understanding of conceptualizing issues is very low.
Mm.
So I think it's in the public domain that there are specific legislators, female legislature, who buy their way to parliament using their natural investment. So it is it's upon those who are dishing out nomination slots to
Yeah.
decide whom they are going to dish out to, depending on how they are able to offer that. And remember, even in terms of morality, her morals is questionable. Uh,
Yeah.
Fighting in public over love triangle, I don't know what. So you
Mm.
find that, and those who gave her that nomination, they're just quiet. You talked about the people living with disability. I think about 2 or 3 weeks ago, there was a report in the media that there was an employee of at Arambe House who was
Yes.
being harassed by the head of public service to relocate, and she was being located, I don't know, to a higher floor, but she
Higher
cannot
floor.
even.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even hear anybody who is nominated to defend people with disability talking about that, coming to her defense. And this was an elderly lady
Yeah.
who was just standing her ground that because of my condition, I cannot access eighth floor of the. But
Yeah.
those who are in power, or
Mm.
those who are making decisions, that were adamant that she has to be relocated. And so you wonder, then why are we even paying these people to go to parliament to represent who? Because you are
Yeah.
not. If you're nominated as a person living with disability, it means that your constituency is anybody who is living with disability within the republic. Yeah, because you
Mm.
are in the National Assembly or you are
Yes.
in the Senate, you don't have as a constituency that elected you. It is that constituency, the entire constituency of people living with disability across the country. So I was expecting, yeah,
Mm.
even Isaac Mwaura, who has been so vocal, who has been a beneficiary in ODM, in Jubilee, as,
Mhm.
an, as a representative of people with disability. And he's now a government spokesperson. And I believe it's because of his condition.
Mm.
He was quiet. He has never said anything. We don't even know. The public is not don't even know what happened to this lady, whether she was evicted, whether she
Yeah.
was forced sacked. We are not even sure. So
Yeah.
I think it is high time that we'll relook into this nomination so that we ensure that people who are deserving are the one who get it. And when they get into parliament,
Mhm.
they represent the constituent that they were nominated to represent.
And Barak, again, also something also maybe we need to investigate, because let's take, for example, we have all these political parties that maybe immediately after election they have slot for nominating people with disability. So you find like each and every political party, let's say like you go to UDA, for instance, will nominate somebody with a disability. You have somebody, ODM will nominate. You come to Wiper, will nominate. You come to other political parties, if they have the nomination slots, they will make sure that you do that. So you find that you find that in that constituency alone, you have almost 10 people who are representing this constituency, but nothing is taking place. I think also we should look at how can we also spread that, so that each and every constituency of people of special interest are catered for, because you cannot tell me that each and every party are going to nominate all these to represent only one constituency. What about other constituencies that other parties cannot nominate? So it should be in a fair distribution, because so that each and every constituency or should get, or they come up with a law that say that if you are the majority in parliament, we are giving you slot to pick this and this constituency, so that there's that representation, rather than having 10 people representing one population. Can that one work?
Yes, if it's looked into critically and objectively, it is
Mhm.
possible.
Yeah.
Because National Assembly, they have 12 slots, and they usually distribute according to the strength of the political parties.
Mm.
You find that others get only one slot, others get two, others get six.
Mm.
So you remember, and once you get one, normally they give it to a loyal member of the party.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember when Godfrey Ososi was nominated by ANC,
Mm.
and how they fought to remove him from parliament when he shifted his allegiance. Yeah.
Yeah.
And because they were given only one slot, and they had to give it to Godfrey Ososi. So he fought out. He fought so hard,
Mhm.
and he decided to join elective politics, and now he was elected as a senator. Now he's reaping the benefits.
Yeah.
And so sometimes when you are given three slots and you have, there are so many vested interests in this nomination thing. And
Mhm.
I think IBC also need to guide, because you have to be considered by IBC. It
Yes.
has to work closely with these political parties to ensure that the person who is coming there
Mhm.
also has interest in the people that he's coming to represent, so
To
that they
represent.
don't just come there as flower girls to represent to the interest of their political parties,
Yeah.
and they are used as voting machines, especially in the National Assembly. Because I understand that in Parliament, in Senate, sometimes they are not allowed to vote, because I don't know how that works.
Mm.
But in National Assembly, they vote. So the IBC should also come in to guide the political party, so that we have value for money. Because as things stand right now, we are not getting value for money when it
Mm.
comes to funding these nomination slots for these members of parliament.
Okay, that is something that should be looked into, especially and into details, especially you looking at the law and how these slots are being rewarded. I think it's only in our country. I don't think when you look at other jurisdiction, I think Tanzania also have. And the one for Tanzania works very funnily even more. The one for Tanzania is even more interesting than ours. You know that. The one for the one for Tanzania, the president can decide to take your nomination and appoint you as and give you appointment in another in another docket, and that's what happens to the ambassador Humphrey Polepole. Remember, during Magufuli's time, uh, the first time of Magufuli, Humphrey Polepole was nominated to be he was a nominated member of parliament. But when Magufuli died and Samia Suluhu took over, first of all, he was appointed to be ambassador of one of the African countries. Then he was taken to Caribbean. Then they fell off with the administration. So you see how each and every country has their own way of doing this nomination. As much as we complain about ours, the one for Tanzania is even more worse.
Yeah, Tanzania is a one-party dictatorship, even though they have what Chadema. Chadema is not significant. It's not making any significant impact in Tanzanian politics. So CCM can do, and that's just reminded me when KANU was a very powerful party in Kenya. And I don't know if you remember the story of Makto, how he was removed from parliament to pave way for Uhuru Kenyatta. I don't know if you remember that. You,
Yeah.
you, you,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
yeah, during Moi Kanu's when Kanu was chama cha baba na mama, they just called him and told him, my friend, is resign from parliament because we have someone that we want to bring to parliament. And Makto had no otherwise but just to resign, and akaenda akaambiwa wewe enda nyamaze kabisa. Yes, and that is how Uhuru Kenyatta found his way in parliament, because he had tried vying previously even in 1997 he was not successful. So
Mm-hmm.
Moi had to look for a way to bring this young man to parliament so that
Yeah.
he can make him a cabinet minister. Then
Mm-hmm.
he can say that he's his most preferred candidate. So when you have very strong political parties who are ruling,
Mm-hmm.
uh, they might abuse their nomination privileges, because once a political party is very powerful, and it makes even the leader of that party very powerful, so
Yeah.
they can abuse those powers to do whatever they feel they deem fit with those nomination slots.
Okay, thank you so much. And maybe Miguda, you can make a comment because, like, Barack is talking of very strong political power. Yeah, but that is very influential, and that is also something that we saw with ODM because, like, remember when Mbadi was appointed to be the CS, there was that nomination slot, and from what we understand, it was supposed to go to a young person, you know. And because they'd already nominated a Sige, right, for the people with the disability, so it was supposed to fall on that youth leader from, is it from Narok, yeah? But what happened, we saw this guy called Kipchumba with disability who was nominated. And even I think Sifuna talked about it, and there was that contestation between them, you know. So sometimes, what can you say about that one too?
With the current constitution,
Yeah.
we cannot focus on the parliament, the National Assembly alone, but we
Mm-hmm.
should focus on the, because if you go into the Senate, there's
Mm-hmm.
this young lady by the name Hezena. Hezena was nominated by the ODM, so I think they have looked at the interest of the youths by nominating
Yes.
that young lady in the Senate. But also the issue of the strong political party can play. Like I can just tell you, ODM is a strong party, actually, by the way. That
Mm-hmm.
one must tell us, because before Sifuna became the senator for Nairobi, he was just merely SG. Look at how powerful he was. He was not, just an SG, not elected, not nominated, but he was that much powerful because of the political party which he was the SG of. So I think the strong political party can elevate you, even if you are being appointed, whether you're a junior or whether you're a senior. But also there's another issue. You find out that if I'm an official, like Mbadi was the chairperson of the ODM party,
Mm-hmm.
now the fact that Wanga was given the ODM ticket for the gubernatorial, and now he was not even going to defend the seat for the Suba South.
Yeah.
So Mbadi had to liaise with the Catherine Muma. By that time, I think the Catherine Muma was the chairperson of
Yeah.
the electoral whatever in ODM.
Mm.
So they have to, if you look at even the way they were presented, it was Catherine Muma, John Mbadi, then another person they were presented to the political party register. So I think sometimes because you might blame maybe someone is senior, but if I'm a leader and I've seen that
Mm-hmm.
all odds are not favoring me, I want to come back to parliament. I can use that nomination to get back to parliament and also demand for position like Mbadi was the chair for the public account committee when
Mm-hmm.
he went back to parliament, and actually was even demanding to be the minority leader if we are
Mm-hmm.
not for Rwanda to bring things up. So I think nomination is very paramount, but we should consider things like you have said very clearly, the representation of a certain group like the disability people,
Mm-hmm.
the youth, the women. You should just concentrate. What about the children? Should the children be represented in parliament?
When you bring the issue of money, and that one now makes me thinking like his nomination, what constituency was he representing, especially now when you're talking about nomination. Hey, that is a story for another day for nomination, but I think it's something that should be looked into. Thank you so much, gentlemen. We want to go over the recap of the interview that yesterday Rigathi Gachagua had with Yvonne Kwara. There are so many things that we picked from it, especially, and every person, especially if you go to social media, each and every person is giving their views depending on their political affiliation. That is one. Also depending on their personality, on how the questions were asked and how the respondents were made. Some felt that Yvonne Okwara did not do a good job. Some feel that she did a good job. Some also feel that Rigathi Gachagua did not do a good job. Some also feel that Rigathi Gachagua did well. So when you go to the internet, you have all these varying opinions of Kenyans, depending from their political affiliation, depending from their political art, where you belong, and all that. So, but with us here, we want to look at and into details, especially, and what we want to begin with, Barack, we want to begin with the tribalism, and from your own perspective, the way Yvonne Okwara started, because he said that when they were when the Kenyans, or when they put out there that they were going to host Rigathi Gachagua, the questions that were being asked, why are you going to host a tribal chief? My question is, apart from those who are asking, because like I'm so much convinced in me that not entire Kenya was asking the same question. What about other questions apart from that? Were there people who also said that it is good to host Mr. Rigathi Gachagua? Why was the one tribal chief actually being the one that was being focused on? Maybe if you can start from there.
I think, Brother Ben, where I think I will want to start
Yeah.
is, why is this question very important
Mm-hmm.
when Rigathi Gachagua is in the equation?
Mm-hmm.
It is because Rigathi Gachagua has positioned himself as the leader of Mount Kenya,
Mm-hmm.
and that should make him a national leader, because Mount Kenya community is a community is the most popular community in Kenya. That makes them have numbers,
Yeah.
and you know, in a democracy, numbers matter.
Mm-hmm.
So if they have a leader
Mm-hmm.
who is tribal and has and has a possibility of becoming the president of this country,
Mm-hmm.
then the country should get worried. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because if you look at the previous leaders,
Mm-hmm.
from Ruto, Uhuru, Kibaki, Moi to the rest, we
Mm-hmm.
have never had a president who have risen as a tribal leader and later on succeed to become the president.
Yeah.
Even when William Ruto was being harassed by the then Uhuru Kenyatta, when they fell out,
Mm-hmm.
he never retreated to the Kalenjin community and championed himself, or positioned himself as a Kalenjin leader.
Mm-hmm.
He never came out in public
Yeah.
to try to say that I negotiated for the people, for the Kalenjin community, to get this from this government, and now they are not giving whatever we negotiated for.
Mm-hmm.
So that is why this question will always come out as long as Gachagua still position himself as the leader of Mount Kenya community.
Mm-hmm.
So, because we cannot, it will be a tragedy for this country to end up with a president who is more focused on his region. You know, we've suffered as a country
Mm-hmm.
courtesy of tribalism, resources being channeled to one region and at the expense of the rest of the country.
Yeah.
And even this idea of having devolution,
Yeah.
it was just as a repercussion of having leadership that channels resources to one region. And if you listen to the how especially the question of negotiating for positions.
Yeah.
And Rigathi said clearly that he negotiated for 8 cabinet secretary positions.
Yeah.
And in his defense, he said that even Raila Odinga also negotiated for 4 cabinet position, for cabinet secretaries.
Mm-hmm.
Now the question is, you negotiated for 8. How were they distributed? Were they distributed across the country, or they were just for your community? Because he is defending himself with the Raila Odinga, and Raila Odinga distributed his positions across the country. Others went to Coast, to the Luo community, to Luo community, and to Turkana community. So you cannot compare the two, because
Mm-hmm.
Gachagua claiming that he negotiated for position, but for his own community. And you know, as a deputy president is a national leader. You are not a deputy president of your community. You are a deputy president of the republic. And that is where the disconnect is, because he's still insisting that he was negotiating for his community. And instead of negotiating, yes, it is good to negotiate for position, but
Yeah.
how are you distributing this position? Yeah. So I think this question is very important and should be asked. And Gachagua yesterday was not able to demystify this, because he was just neither here nor there,
Mm-hmm.
but he has not been able to run away from this tribal tag, because yesterday he was just confirming what many people have been asking question, that he is really a tribal leader.
Oh, okay, okay. Thank you, Mr. Barak. And something that also we have to agree: the issue of tribalism in our country exists, and it is that question that should be always be looked in sobriety, and we think on how. And as you've said, that is one person that is actually advocating for one region, and he has come out publicly. But again, when you look at our political, the way we do our politics, and I'm bringing this about the regionalism kind of politics, whereby even in the coalitions, what usually qualifies you to get a very good position is the number of your votes. Because I believe that Rigathi Gachagua was not given a deputy position because he was overqualified than even Kithure Kindiki, that the rumors has it that was the priority, and the president ended up picking up Rigathi Gachagua. But he was picked, or somebody from another region could not be picked on the UDA, and this was based on the number of votes that were coming from Mount Kenya, because we were going to make you president. And from his confession, what they agreed that he was supposed to deliver only 70%. And there's a share agreement that has been signed between them. That was, he did not sign, but they had gentleman agreement. He said Mudavadi signed agreement, Wetangula signed agreement on how they are going to divide government positions. Yeah. So where do we draw the line? Where do we draw the line, especially in the political field right now? Because when you look into it in the coalitions and in the voting pattern, where do we draw the line?
You know, the nature of our politics is designed or is choreographed in a way that the numbers are very important, and these numbers are ethnicized. Yeah.
Yes.
Where you come from, this ethnic community, now you are considered, if you manage to become to position yourself as the leader of that specific community.
Yeah.
Now it is assumed that you own that community politically, and now you will be negotiating on behalf of that community, and even that is what Gachagua was saying yesterday. Now look at if you look at the 2022 election, the Kikuyu factor. Kikuyu did not have a strong Gachagua was talking about Waihiga Mwaura. Mwaura was not a candidate that can be president by all facts. If you look at the politics of this country, now if you look at now the how the Kikuyu factor played, if you look at the Kenya Kwanza Alliance, the person who was the most qualified to become the deputy president was Musalia Mudavadi, but because of where he comes from, they could not consider him for that position because of tribal factor numbers. If you look at the Azimio coalition, the most qualified person to become the deputy president was Kalonzo Musyoka. Remember, he has deposited Raila twice before. But because of that Kikuyu factor, the numbers, he was dropped and Karua was picked. Why did Raila pick Karua and Ruto pick Rigathi Gachagua? Even after they say that they were voted for between him and Professor Kindiki, but Professor Kindiki was coming on top. It is because to assure this community that even though if you are not having a presidential candidate, your interest will be taken care of by the deputy, because now you are number two. So that is how the two ended up being the running mates of either of both Ruto and Raila Odinga. So how the nature of our politics is that the numbers based on ethnicity plays a critical role. And even if you look at the united opposition, even if you look at the broad-based, even if you look at these people calling themselves Kenya Moja, even if you look at, I see others also coming up through, I don't know, Boniface Mwangi. So you find that the main factor there that bringing these people together is wewe unaleta nini kwa meza. And you remember even Gachagua say, you will be asked once they start striking these deals. Now the question that Kenyans should be asking themselves, these numbers that these people are bringing on board, when now they start now sharing the cake, who benefits from this sharing? Yeah, because they negotiate coalition based on power sharing, who will get what, when, and how, and that is politics. Politics is who gets what, when, and how. Now, when that time comes, will the Wanjiku, the people, the local people, get anything from that? Because it is the elites who usually share power. It is the elites who share positions. And you can be a very close friend to Rigathi Gachagua and you are not a Kikuyu and you will benefit. But now, the normal mwananchi that that makes them feel that they have those numbers. How are they benefiting from this arrangement? I think that is the biggest question that
Um,
more normal Kenyans should be asking at this stage.
Okay, thank you so much. And let me also bring, as I bring in Miguda, and I see Makobura has joined us in the panel, and we will be discussing about this. And I'm so much interested on the issue of tribalism, because I believe, and I still believe until today, Mr. Barak, that as a country, we've not reached a point whereby we have answered the issue of tribalism. And the reason why I'm saying so is how the politicians, because there's, as much as Rigathi Gachagua has been advocating and coming out as the somebody who fight for his community. And we've seen in the political narrative, it's not the first time. Even Raila Odinga has always been called to be a tribal. Remember, when he was not with William Ruto, when he was when he was running against President William Ruto, he has been. Look at the history of our politics. All these leaders, they've called themselves the tribal chief, all that kind of names. But Miguda, where do we run? Especially, where is the departure? Especially when we switch allegiance. Immediately we switch allegiance, the tribal card or the tribal name usually shifts allegiance too. Because as we speak today, we can see it, that there's one part or one coalition or one protagonist that is called hawa ni wakabila, hawa wana Kenya wengine. At what point do we switch that? When you switch allegiance, or when your interest now you don't share any interest? Because this is what Rigathi Gachagua was saying, that when he was supporting President William Ruto, there was no tribe in him. Even the voting, he talked about people who voted Raila around 13%, and he said that other people voted about 87%, but in their voting, they voted very well, or they negotiated knowing very well that President William Ruto is a Kalenjin. And they say that those who voted 13% also voted knowing very well that Raila was a Luo. So now, at what point did the issue of tribal now comes in, and at what point do we depart?
I think the issue of tribe is becoming a bit complex, but I just want to state that a point of departure could be whereby someone is coming out to speak it out and others are not speaking out, because Gachagua said that people are just afraid to come and speak, but him, he has made a decision to speak it out. So I think by the time he's speaking it out, while others people are quiet about it, so the person is now appearing to be the tribal chief. I think that's now where there is a departure, because there's some people who don't talk about it, but him, he has decided to speak about it, because even confess that people don't want to speak, but that's the reality. So it's like it is reality is tribal, the way we confess that it is true, we are tribal, but people don't want to talk about it. Are they tribal? But before I state my point, I just want also to agree that when opportunity was given to everybody, with Gachagua decided to bring the people from Mount Kenya alone. But when Raila was given opportunity, Raila tried to spread it across the country. So there's no where we can say that it is the same thing, that Raila is tribal. That one in
Okay.
terms of appointing.
Okay, we
So
are,
I wanted to
okay, just hold on. There's something here also we have to drive home. Let's take, for example, that at the time when Raila was making a deal, let's say it was a pre-election deal, what could have happened? Because we are looking at the circumstances that made Raila to get into the deal. This was after the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua.
Okay,
And
I get your point.
yeah.
But even if it was Raila already stated his cabinet before election, and he gave Oparanya the CS for the treasury. He gave Joe the land CS. He gave Kalonzo prime CS. He gave Peter Munya agriculture. So already Raila was not tribal in terms of distribution, even before election. Even in his own Azimio, he spread out things. In fact, there was no law in his cabinet, the pre-cabinet where he declared. So I think when it comes to the appointing, we have to agree that there were two differences.
Yep.
There was someone who brought the people from his only community, but there was someone who tried to spread across. That is a reality, even if we might disagree politically. But
Yeah.
that's a fact that Raila brought people different. Even he was he was willing that if Kenyans select him, he's gonna
Mhm.
spread it. Unlike what Gachagua says. So Gachagua has one thing, not a problem.
Yeah.
Gachagua said that okay, like me, I must speak out.
Mhm.
We are tribal as Kenyans, but like me, I must say I'm tribal and I
Mhm.
must advocate my community. And it was very categorical that finance, interior, trade, that must go to Mount Kenya. And he goes ahead and saying they took our position, the finance, and gave it to Mbadi. So it's like the finance was made for Kikuyu.
Yeah.
Can you relate? That's why people are saying tribal because say that walichukua kiti yetu wakapatia Mbadi. No, these seats are not for the Sadi community. They're for Kenyans, and
Yeah.
Mbadis are Kenyan. That one must
Mhm.
be noted.
Yeah.
That one must be noted, and that one must be noted. And now I was saying the tribal things in this country
Yeah.
is like people usually speak about it during elections, and they are selective
Mhm.
because I have a very good friends from on Kenya, and they were telling me, "You people, you haven't voted for Kikuyus.
Yeah.
You voted when we 2013 you gave Raila, 2007 you gave Raila, 17 you gave Raila, 20 you gave Raila. You people, why are you only voting for your person? But they're forgetting in 2002 the Luos voted for Kibaki.
Yeah.
Same way, Gachagua was saying that Kikuyus are not tribal,
Mhm.
and Kikuyus voted for Kibaki in 2002, 2007, they voted for Kibaki, 13,
Mhm.
17, Uhuru. Then 2022, because they had no option, they gave it to Ruto. Okay, as we are not tribal because we gave Ruto, and it was never Kikuyu. But why could they give it to Raila? Then Gachagua will tell you, okay, we gave Raila 13%, then 87% to Ruto. But even the Luo nation gave Uhuru the significant numbers. Even the
Mhm.
Luo nation gave Kibaki, so it's the same thing. So it's like you want to use it selective that we, the Murima people, we are not tribal because we voted for Ruto. But
Mhm.
you, the low community, you are tribal because you have not voted for anybody. But forgetting
Mhm.
202, they voted for Kibaki. So this thing of tribalism, we can't just say that we are not tribal because of this election,
Yeah.
of a particular election, but because of 2022, now we are not tribal.
Yeah.
So it means that before 2022, you are tribal. That's what you're trying to confirm to us.
Yeah.
But there are some significant things that we must look at. If you are having a candidate from your region who
Mhm.
is popular, there's no way you cannot vote for that candidate. Like William Ruto was voted by the people of Rift Valley, the same way
Mhm.
Uru was selected by the Mount Kenya. So that is a fact. But even if it comes to the issue of tribalism,
Mhm.
the way Okwara was interviewing Gachagua, and the people are saying Gachagua is tribal. I can
Mhm.
say if they could have relied on social media, maybe the X space, maybe
Mhm.
it could be a nice sponsored response whereby they can respond that you are a tribal person.
Mhm.
But even that Gen Z young girl when asked Gachagua that if you want to be the president, not that we are saying Ruto is not tribal.
Mhm.
The point we are trying to drive here, if Gachagua want to be the president of the Republic of Kenya, it's high
Yeah.
time he get out of that thing called sisi watu wa mlima. Sisi watu wa Kenya. You are threatening other tribes. They're like, oh, so it's because you say tunawajua kwa sura, kwa vitendo
Yeah.
na vile mnafaa. So it's like not that we are saying
Mhm.
that is tribal him. Even Ruto is tribal, but the point we're trying to drive home, if you must appear like a nationalist, when you have a mic, you must say,
Mhm.
okay, we as the Kenyan people, because you want the Kenyan, because he said he want to be on the ballot in 2022,
Yeah.
2027. How
Mhm.
are you going to go to ask votes in Western? How are you
Mhm.
going to ask votes in Kisii? Because you're okay, sisi kama wa Kenya
Mhm.
tunasema one term. Sisi kama wa Kenya tunasema
Mhm.
tupeleke Kasongo nyumbani. Sisi kama Wakenya tunasema Kasongo, if you talk about the issue of taxes, it is not only the Kikuyu who are paying taxes. Everybody is paying tax in this country. If you talk
Mhm.
about the issue of high cost of living, it affects all of us. If you talk about the issues of NGCDF, who does not have a constituency? All of us have constituencies. So these things affect each and every Kenyan. So we are just trying to, not that we are, people are trying even to advise him, like that
Mhm.
young Gen Z girl, that if you must persuade other Kenyans that you are you want to be a leader, stop this shit of tribalism. Just appear like sisi kama wa Kenya. Because we understand it's coming from Kenya is popular, but if you want to go to negotiate with the Kenyan's people, you must bring like we as Kenya. Let me tell you one thing. When he said that walichukua kiti yetu wakapatia Mbadi, how do you feel? It's like if he becomes the president, the first thing he will do, he will take his kiti yao ya finance. So it's like that. You don't need to make those utterances as a national leader, as a nationalist, because we believe that if we have a constituted cabinet, the 21 of them, there must be Kenyans. Everybody's a Kenyan in that cabinet. No, not that this interior must be ours. This trade must be ours.
So,
Any Kenyan.
So Migoda, let me ask you, and I saw somebody asking. First, one thing that we have to agree as a nation on the nature of our politics. Our politics is a tribal, and we are tribal in our politics. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I've not said we are not tribal. I've said.
Which means, from that alone, we are all tribal in our politics.
Our politics are tribal-based politics. That's why coalitions are being made on the tribal basis.
So can we conclude that everybody is tribal, but there are people who are the chief of all the tribals? We are tribal, but there's a chief more tribal than others.
No. That one is not even my point. I haven't said there's a chief or there's no chief. I've said as much as we are tribal as Kenyan people, as much as our politics are tribal-based politics, whereby even coalitions are tribal-based, we have Kikuyus, Kalenjins, we have Luos, Kambas, and so as much as we are tribal-based politics, but in a country of diverse population like Kenya, you don't need to all of the time champion for the interest of your region at all cost, because it's like you are threatening other people. That's what I'm trying to say. Not that there's a chief tribal or there's not a chief tribal. But I'm just saying, as much as our politics are tribal based, and I've given a very good citation that William Ruto and Kalenjin and Luo Nation right now, they are united. So it's a certain nation, so it means like for you to appeal to Kenyans, that actually, like if you are saying, I just want to, if you are saying is CS ya finance ilikuwa kiti yetu wakachukua kapatia Mbadi, it's like I can never become a CS for finance in this country, even if, so I just must be a Kikuyu for me to be a CS for finance. That's what I'm trying to say. There are people who are who yearn to be the CS for finance. There are people who are going to school, are working towards become the CS for finance. There are people who understand the economy very well, but because they are not Kikuyus, that seat is reserved for the Kikuyu. That's what I'm trying to say. That even as much as we are trying to oppose Gachagua, Gachagua also should understand that even if you are a truthful man, but you can't just say in the national television that this seat belongs to us. It's like you are saying, and this is a public office. What about other Kenyans who have merited, who want to be the CS for finance? It's like, until the kingdom of God comes, there shall be no Luo CS finance in the Republic of Kenya. So, it doesn't make sense. So I'm just saying, as much as our politics are tribal-based politics, but as a leader, you need to appear as a nationalist.
Okay, Barak, I just want to know, because when you look at coalition, because to me, I'm persuaded to think that our coalition is the path that even pushes us to think more tribal than the way we used to think with our political parties. The reason why I'm saying this is because when you come to in coalitions, the number one priority that you're going to look for, they're not going to look at your professionalism. The professionalism is not going to be on the list, because if it could have been that the professionalism is one of those criteria that is used to at least to put somebody on the higher seat, then we could have seen very well educated or gay community being put on the lucrative seat that we would say, because we are dealing with their professionalism and the people who understand the leadership. But we know the coalition will always come looking at the region, how you've consolidated your region. Can we also conclude that the coalition also is a path that also tried to push for tribalism in the country.
You know, Brother Ben, the problem of tribalism
Yeah.
is entrenched by political elites.
Okay.
It is a tool that political elites use to ensure that they acquire power or they maintain power, because they know that the masses are not well informed. They will whip the emotions of the masses and use the tribal narrative to ensure that they continue to dominate the masses. So if you look at the history of Kenya since independence, this issue of tribalism usually comes up when either the presidency is threatened or the presidency needs to change from one person, from one regime to another, and they will use it to ensure that they retain it or they challenge for it. That is why you will not hear tribalism when people are being sworn in. There is no tribalism. But immediately watu wameweza kujipanga, political realignment imeanza, utaanza kusikia tribalism, because the elites have been benefiting from this tribalism for all these years, and they are hell-bent of continuing to benefit from it, because Kenyans have not understood who are the beneficiaries of this tribal narrative. Yeah,
Yeah.
who are the
Yeah.
beneficiaries? And I just wanted to mention something. You say that when people have been given positions, the issue of professionalism does not come up. And if you look at the definition of justice,
Yeah.
yeah, if you look at the definition of justice by a philosopher called Plato,
Yeah.
Plato defined justice as giving an individual a responsibility that they are most suited to, so that they can perform, they can maximize performance. Yeah. But you know, he said that injustice is where you give an individual a position that they are not suited for, they are not qualified for. That is injustice. Because if you look at that argument, if you are a qualified doctor, it means that patients will get proper treatment.
True.
If you're given that job to do. If you're a qualified teacher, it means students will benefit from your services as a teacher. It means if you are a qualified a cleric or clergy, it means the congregation will benefit from your services as a clergy. Now, what is happening in our situation is that we call people engineers, they are not qualified. They construct houses, those houses end up collapsing, killing people, destroying property. People are called doctors, they are not qualified. They treat people, people die. Sometimes they miss even diagnose, because we are a society that has normalized injustice.
Yeah.
Because and we hide on tribalism. We allocate positions to people who are not qualified, and they end up doing a lot of more harm than good to the society. Yeah,
Yeah.
because we are basing qualification on tribe, on surname. Yeah, we are basing qualification on nepotism, and that is what has been ailing this country for many years. We are not doing justice to the people of Kenya by giving people positions, people who are not qualified, and sidelining people who are qualified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And that has been an issue. And I think we should not continue to hide behind surnames or tribes. Yeah. And confront this issue of allocating position to people who are not qualified. It's not even at the lower level. From the presidency. Yeah. How have we been voting in people who we are sure, apart from sharing the surname, there is nothing that can portray them as qualified individuals? Look at the members of parliament that are representing us. Are they the best that we have in our society? Look at the
no.
governors that we have. Look at even Nairobi County. being led by Johnson Sakaja. It's an insult to this great county of Nairobi. But because of a society that we have normalized injustice, where we are giving positions to people not based on qualification, not based on their capacity, not based on professionalism, but because of we have tribal narrative, it is not going to help us. We are just going to continue having people in offices who are doing more harm than good to our society.
Okay, and you know, and do you think as a media, especially those who have been entrusted with the passing of information, are really doing the best that they could, especially so for the people to know, even to demystify where where issues like tribalism arises, but we don't point out. For instance, I want to give you, for instance, especially in the interview I had when she said that okay, the people that actually he visited were people who belong to a certain region, and especially I think sometimes you have to do research, and when you do research, you will find like there are these states that you see outside, maybe in the United States, there are states that, and at the state, there's a bigger state, yeah, then there are towns, you know. So you might find that in the town that where you are going to visit, especially, you will find that the majority of people who are there are people who are from your region, and the people who have invited you. It has happened. And for instance, I know of a place called Poughkeepsie, is in New York. And that place, if you look at the majority of people who are there, are Luos. You know, for if I want to invite, you want to invite a member of or any leader who will come. I can remember there was a time Governor Obado came, and the majority of people who were there actually were people from Migori, and they were Luo. So, at what point can the media play a central role and say that okay, where is going to visit? This place is populated by this kind of region, because that is the reality, especially now if you come to a town and they invite you.
Ben, mainstream media
Yeah,
is a tool of the elite.
yeah,
They are more focused on serving the interest of the elite. They are not interested in serving the interest of the masses.
yeah,
That is why they will always focus on things that the elite wants them to focus on. And just look at the behavior of our media houses, mainstream media, and you look at what is trending, what is the most common thing that people want to hear. That's what they will tell the people. And they are controlled by politicians. This media politicians have shares in these media houses, and sometimes the owners of these medias are their friends. So they will not serve the interest of the common people. They will just serve the interest of the elites. That's why I don't blame them, because I understand
yeah,
that they are tools for operations. They are tools of continuity of elite domination to the society, and they cannot they cannot play the role
yeah,
of maybe being a revolutionary or even liberation, because
yeah,
they are an extension of the elite.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. And you know, and that's why, like I tell you, Mr. Barak, this is my opinion. I believe as a country, for us to run away from this tribalism, it will be very hard, whether it's the chief tribalist or what. But the bottom line is that we are all tribal, and the way even our politicians usually make us to have those kind of narrative talks that so and so is tribal than others, because the very moment they switch their allegiance and they switch their coalitions, the narrative changes. Those who are not tribal in this election year are going to be tribal in the next election years. But you find that the voters usually buy into it. But at the end of the day, you find that it doesn't even feed the country. We still find that we still have the same problems that we have. We are still going through same challenges. Talk about corruption. We are still having corruption. Talk about the issue to do with health. We are still having issue to do challenges with the health. So I think at some point it also depends with the voters on how you analyze and how you make your decision. If you make very good decision, then it will end. But if you don't make very good decision, then we will be in this river for the longest time. I tell you, I don't think like we are going to get off from this river. That is what I think, Mr. Barak. This is my own opinion, based on how the political is running us.
Yes, because the narrative, the tribal narrative, is used by the elites to capture power. And once they capture power, they switch allegiance or they do whatever they are doing. But once that power is threatened, they come back and tell you that these guys, these people from this region they are like this. And I agree with you, Brother Ben. And let me just also give my opinion. It is not. Sometimes people confuse being tribal by, we belong to tribes. That's
Yeah.
a fact,
Mhm.
and there is nothing wrong with belonging to a tribe, because we did not choose even where to be born. So every Kenyan belong to a specific tribe. Now the tribe only becomes a problem when political elites now comes in
Yeah.
and starts telling you that us people who from this community are being threatened by the other community. So let us unite by community B and community C and protect our interest. Yeah. And they have been using that for many years to capture power, to maintain power, to get power. But what about their community? Yeah. So Kenyans must understand that saying that I belong to this community, it has nothing to do with me being tribal. If we can focus on giving people opportunities to serve based on the most suitable person, because if the best candidate or if the best person is occupying a position of power, I believe they will serve well and make all the people will be happy. For example, if we have a president who can manage to lead the fight against corruption and minimize corruption, because corruption cannot end completely.
Yeah.
I believe that Kenya will be saving a lot of money that will go into health, will go into education, will go into other social welfare. And if we have, even if it's my tribe who sits at the state house and
Yeah.
they are not leading well, look at the education sector, look at the health sector. So you want to tell me that the community or the tribe of the president are getting better education, better health services? Uh,
No.
they are just suffering like the rest of the country. So we should focus on giving positions to people who are the most qualified so that the country can benefit. Even if you are in Mandera, even if you are in Muranga, even if you are in Kisumu, you will ensure that you get health services, you get education, there is no rampant unemployment. But if we continue looking at who is going to become the president, do we share with him the same name? Do we come from the same community? Or if we focus on joining forces with other communities so that we can become many and outsmart the others, and we don't care who is coming to who is going to lead us, then I think we are going to be in a rude shock for many years, because the intention of us coming together to form coalition, it is not for the good of the country. It is not to allow the best candidate to lead. It's to allow the person who brings a lot of votes on the table to lead. And that has always been our biggest undoing. And that is why we have been ending up having problems. So until when, as a country, we will come of age and decide to vote for the most qualified candidate, not because they come from where we come from, but because they can serve this country better. I think that is when we will start now be attempting to fight corruption fighting the tribal. But as for now, I agree with you. As a country, we are in a deep pit, and what we are doing, we are continuing to dig the pit. Yeah, we are just digging it. Yeah, we are not looking for ways of getting out.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Makobura. How are you doing, sir? Hey, Makobura, habari gani?
Nashukuru. Sijui kama mnanisikia. Can you hear me?
Tunakusikia. Yes, we can.
Okay, niko salama nashukuru. Been having a problem with power here for almost a week now. So that's
Call
the
CS Sophia
challenge
Wandai.
I'm having. Mhm. Acha tu nisiongee, niachie tu na hapo.
Uh, so we were just talking about the recap of Rigathi Gachagua yesterday interview with Yvonne Kwara. We picked the issue of tribal, and we wanted also to talk about the issue of corruption that Rigathi Gachagua mentioned. And maybe if you look at maybe in the entire interview, was there something new that actually that came out of Rigathi Gachagua?
I can't really say there was something new because uh, I think it was just like a recap because all those things that he spoke about are things that uh, he has been speaking about, whether he was in Kenya, when he was in US. He has been speaking about those same. He has been bringing up the same issues. So
Mhm.
I don't think there was anything new. It was just
Yeah.
the same topic, the same discussion that we've always had. Not even once, but several times. He has had several interviews and he has spoken about the same issues. He has been asked the same things. I don't think there was anything new. He was asked, of course, things to do with the plans he has for the country,
Mhm.
things to do with the corrupt allegations that he has always come up with.
Yeah.
He was asked about, the issue of the president meeting some leaders who are seen as, not respecting the human rights in Africa. So I
Mhm.
don't think there was anything new. It was just a discussion that he has always had. And maybe something new was his visit to the United States of America, and it was the first time that he was now being interviewed on his visit his visit to America.
If you engage the interview and look at it and you find that everything that was asked or anything that was the conversation was going over, especially the questions that were being raised to Rigathi Gachagua, these are things that have always been. Do you think as a media now, people need now to switch gears, especially when you are hosting these leaders? Now you start to ask them, what are the things that you are going to do for Kenya, rather than always sticking with the narrative that we usually know, that when you're going to host Rigathi Gachagua, you have to talk about tribalism, you have to talk about the president, ask the relationship between the Rigathi and the president and all that. Is there that time that now I think we should transcend and start to interview about the real issues now? Because like, is this one is kind of like exhausted.
Yeah, there's need for the media houses or the journalists to start asking questions which are, issue based questions which are influencing our daily lives. They are supposed to put them to task of answering the plans that they have for the country,
Mhm.
uh, how they're planning to better the lives of the people of Kenya, how
Yeah.
they are planning to approach the challenges that the people of Kenya are facing, how to do away with the tribalism and the issue of tribalism, which has always been brought forth whenever people are speaking about politics,
Mm.
how to solve the issue of, you know, the issue of uh, giving or giving too much attention to certain regions. I
Mhm.
think those are the issues which are currently affecting the people of Kenya. Not just that, but of course, ensuring that the economy of the Republic of Kenya is on the right path. Those are the issues that I think they're supposed to be speaking about. If they continue speaking about the president met CG
Mm.
these are stories that we've had for months and months, and I don't think they are solving any problem in the Republic of Kenya. As much as yes, those
Mhm.
issues are, very important in terms of how, in matters of governance.
Mm.
I know, I
Mm.
I know how important they are, yeah, but my way should be the people who are eyeing for political seats in Kenya. They first focus on Kenya. They first focus on, and aligning and giving up. I mean, giving clear roadmap of what they are planning to do. And if they are supposed to attack those in power or those that they believe are not doing what is right, then they're supposed to do so in a manner that, of course, they should do so with some evidence, si tu kukuja papayuka na maneno ambazo inafanya watu ambao wako na different political stance to, they are getting confused, and such kind of things are bringing a lot of confusion in the society, and that is why the issue of tribalism is still a big topic that whenever you touch on it, whenever you start speaking about it, people will always have a certain view, and it is one of the serious challenge that we are facing as a country. The difference in tribe, the difference in culture, I don't know how we are going to solve this, but I can tell you the biggest problem that the people of Kenya are facing, as much as we are all having our own problems, I tell you that the issue of tribalism is a threat to the development and the association that the people of Kenya are having.
Okay. Okay, Barak. Today we are celebrating the Katiba Day, and and the people who were given opportunity to speak, especially, were the leaders of our country, and each one of them actually spoke and pointed out some of the weaknesses, especially that they are witnessing. But if you reflect back, especially the leaders who have been speaking, especially now when you come, because like we will always point out when it comes to the issue of broad-based government, we know very well that especially the constitution especially allows that, especially when you join the government, when you have the pre-pack, there are those positions that actually you should always relinquish and give them to the people in opposition, such as the pack, which we've not seen ODM doing that, because like since they've come out clearly to say that they've formed the broad-based government, and they're speaking about the constitution. We are speaking about the constitution. Wetangula is sitting there, the Speaker of the National Assembly, and is the same person who usually attends a political rally in the name of empowerment, yet he knows that he's the president of the legislature who should be neutral. Then we are speaking about we are celebrating the Katiba Day. How truthful are we?
It is all about the elites,
Yeah.
Looking at Katiba Day, it is a good thing to commemorate it and maybe take stock of what has been happening since 2010, promulgation of the Constitution. But now, if you look at the first, I think Kenyans, we promulgated the Constitution, then we shot our foot, or ourselves at the foot. Because the first regime that came in power was a regime that was not committed to implement the Constitution. And this regime, again, is not a regime. You remember Ruto was the one who led the no campaign during the referendum of 2010. So we've had two regimes, one, the Uhuru regime and now the Ruto regime. They have been so reluctant in ensuring the full implementation of the Constitution. And that is why we are seeing so many challenges with the 2010 Constitution up to now. So even 15 years down the line, people still don't feel the benefits of the Constitution, especially when we come to devolve some functions and also the independent commissions. If you look at the independent commissions that were created by this 2010 Constitution, you can hardly struggle to see the one that is really independent. Even the one that has been given the name independent. Yeah, we have independent electoral boundary commission. We have ethics and anti-corruption. They are not functioning independently, because we still have elites, political actors who are still interested in interfering with the operations of these commissions. And these are constitutional commissions that
Yeah.
was established with a specific mandate, either to fight corruption, either to oversee elections, either to the Auditor General, and even the NCISC. So you find that they have not been able to operate effectively
Yeah.
because of the regimes that have been in place that have been ensuring that there is no full implementation of the constitution. Yeah. So the benefits are very few. The elites only allowed the implementation of what could benefit them, like creation of positions,
Yeah.
and sometimes allocation of funds. So you find that anything that benefits them, it is very easy to implement. And anything that benefits the wananchi, it is very difficult to implement. And anything that exposes them to the law, like the EACC, they've been hell-bent on ensuring that this commission is not functional. Yeah. So that is why I don't think there was really much to celebrate. And if you look at the people like Wetangula, those are people who are, I was just talking about giving position to people who are most qualified. So you can just see the implication of giving anybody anything because they have numbers, or because they come from where we come from, or because they help us to get something. So rewarding people based on loyalty is a repercussion for injustice within the society. Back to you, Mark.
Okay, thank you, thank you Barak. Naona Judith amechemuka hapo kwa comment section. Judith hapa anasema when Murima people are involved, it's always tribalism, but other tribes not. We must be seen and heard. Okay. Okay, that's okay. Thank you so much Gypsy Corner. Uliuliza swali lingine hapo. You have said something. Oh, kupapayuka. Kupapayuka hata sijui inamaanisha nini vizuri. I don't know what it means, lakini I think ni sijui. Iko na maana tu hivyo, ukikuwa tu keen usikize kile ambacho nilikuwa nazungumzia, utaona kinaingiana vizuri na kenye nilikuwa nasema. Anyway, I think we'll close. Barak, I'll give you a chance to just give your final remarks and then we call it a day.
Ben, I know, I heard someone telling you that your tribesman Opio Wanda is the minister for is the CS for energy, and you are in darkness. So he was wondering, how comes you are in darkness and
Yeah, let me just say something on that before you come in. You know, I think we have a problem on the issue of tribe. We have a problem. That is one thing that we have to acknowledge, because most of time we've suffered in the name of someone that is coming from where we come from. Maybe he's a minister. You know, it's something that the people of Kenya suffered. We've seen these individuals even getting themselves into corrupt dealings, and then when they are faced, they now bring the entire community. Mimi hata sijai kula hata shilingi moja ya Opiyo Wandayi, hata Raila Amolo Odinga. But if you hear, when you start speaking and then you say that there's something that is not really working, and suppose someone from your tribe or someone from your place is in a certain position, there is that mentality that, you know, you're coming from that side, you are not supposed to suffer. And these are the challenges. These are the tactics that are being used by the political class to confuse the masses, to confuse the citizens. And I think we've been buying this as a people. We've been buying this narrative of the person is coming to our place, so we are not supposed to suffer. The person is coming from our place, so we are not supposed to question. It is a problem that we are facing until, to me, if you ask me, the biggest problem that we are facing as a nation, it is not even lack of good leadership. It is tribalism. Because the moment people start speaking about any other thing, governance and all those things, they have to bring tribalism. So tribalism is the only problem that we are facing as a nation. And if we can sort it out as a people, if we can start looking at each other as Kenyans, I think we will get to a point where we will not really be looking into matters in that angle. Yeah, nimekuwa na blackout for almost 1 week, just like you did say, Barack.
Pole
But
bwana,
someone would say that
enda ufukuze Wandai kwa ofisi, hakuna kazi anafanya. Anyway, naona Gypsy Kona anasema urudie fisi yako ya Kiswahili, ni kama hapo litoka bure. Anyway. Urudie fisi yako ya Kiswahili bwana. And thank you so much, all our viewers, Gypsy Kona, Judith, Father, who left earlier, and also Miss Yani also left a bit earlier. And all my co-panelists, I really appreciate your time, and it was nice having you to this evening. I know the topic of tribalism is normally a thorny topic, and you know when you are so much uncomfortable to discuss something, it means that thing really means a lot to you. So we need to be we need to be comfortable to discuss this issue of tribalism so that we can come out of it. Because I know many Kenyans are not very much comfortable discussing tribalism because it is a thorn in our flesh. Yeah. So if we can remove this thorn in our flesh as a country by discussing it and doing what we call enlightening and seeing that it is the politicians who benefit from this tribal narrative. It is not the common people. The common people are continuing to languish in abject poverty. They continue they continue to suffer from bad services from the government. Health sector is in shambles, education. So you find that it is the elites, political elites, who are gaining, who are benefiting from this tribal narrative. So I think let us be bold enough and accept that it is a challenge. And now we don't just say it's a challenge, then we stop there. We ask ourselves, how can we get ourselves out of this pit that we did not dig for ourselves? And politicians are hell-bent on ensuring that we don't get out of it. So until next time, looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Be blessed wherever you are. Asanteni sana.
Thank you, Mr. Barack. Naona dada yangu hapa Gypsy Kona anasema nirudi nifanye Kiswahili. Nitarudi hivi karibuni. Nikirudi tena nitakuwa mweledi wa lugha. Hivyo basi acha nichukue fursa hii nitamatishe kipindi chetu cha leo, na tena nataka kuambia saa wale ambao wanatutazama mara ya kwanza, tafadhali subscribe and like this channel. This is Brother Benson Media, and here we say that your opinion counts. I want to take this opportunity to say a big thank you to everyone who joined us this evening. We are so much grateful. Thank you so much, Gypsy Kona, Judith Karitha, Father Didi, and I saw Laban Misiani. Thank you so much, Laban, for finding time. And everyone else who joined us, we really appreciate. Thank you so much, and may God bless you. We hope to see you again tomorrow. Asanteni sana kwa wakati yenyu. Mungu awabariki. Tuonaneni kesho.